Okay, so let us start with our today's discussion. It is going to be again all about exercises. We have completed all our 6 points and only exercises remaining. That is what we are doing. So we have gone through 2 sessions of this particular exercise, but today we'll be starting with part third of it. So till yesterday, we had gone through question number 6. We had 4 bits, A, B, C, and D, and we had completed A and B from those. So today we'll be talking about C and D. So let us start with C and D. Now in question C, what they are asking, let us try to understand that first and then we will solve. Question what they're asking is, how far has a C traveled when B passes A? Okay, so what they want us to know, what is the distance of C when B passes A? Okay, so they are just asking whenever B and A crosses, okay, whenever line of B and line of A crosses, what is the distance of C? Okay, that is very simple because this is distance time graph. We can easily calculate, but first we need to find out where exactly B passes A. So the point at which both will intersect is nothing but that is the condition where B passes A. Now this is the line of B, okay, this is the line of A. So this is the point where they pass each other because their common point of intersection will give us idea of what? B passes A. So intersection of B and intersection of A. So this is the point where B passes A. So let me highlight it. This is the point where B passes A. Why? Because those lines are intersecting at each other. Okay. Now they want us to know at this condition, what is the distance traveled by C? Now, these are the lines of B and A. They are asking us for distance traveled by C. So now we need to compare the line of C, right? But we cannot take any distance from this line. We have to talk about the distance traveled exactly at this point. So what we'll do, we'll take this point as a reference and we'll draw perpendicular on C. Why to draw perpendicular on C? Because we want to know distance traveled at this point. So let us draw a perpendicular at C. How to do that? See, we have drawn a perpendicular at C. This is what? Why we have drawn perpendicular at C? Because we want to know a point which is, suppose, let us say between B and A. So that was the intersection point. And then we wanted a point which is, suppose, let us say distance traveled by C. So distance traveled by C can easily be calculated from this particular line. All you have to do is find intersection point of B and A, draw a perpendicular from that point towards the C. Why C? Because that is asked in question, distance traveled by C. So this is the distance we want. Now what is that distance? How much do you think that distance is? Give me response in chat box. From this point, how much do you think is the distance? 8 kilometers, right? Huh. So distance, you are correct. That is very much correct that the distance would be 8 kilometers. If you are directly taking this line from, suppose, let us say this perpendicular, the answer is very much correct. That is 8, right? So what we have to understand here is this is the point we want that distance to be covered. That distance is 8. That is very much correct. But you have to understand that C didn't start from initial point. You can see when you are comparing the C's line, you can see that some distance was traveled initially. So we cannot take 8 directly. We have to subtract this distance. This distance we have to subtract. Why? Because initially it had covered some distance, even on 0th second, it had covered some distance. So we need to subtract from 8. Answer is actually 8. But why we are subtracting this? Because this was initial distance covered. This has to be subtracted. Otherwise, what is going to happen? We are not getting the correct reading. Initially, only it had covered some distance. It has not covered actually 8 kilometers. Okay, how much distance it has covered? Less than 8. Why? Because at 0th condition, it had covered some distance. So we need to subtract those. Now, how to find out this distance, this red distance? So it's a very simple one. Total is 8. We just need to subtract it and we can calculate that with the help of, you just have to calculate how many boxes there are. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So 7 boxes on y-axis is how many values we are getting? 4. And we are supposed to calculate values for 4 boxes, right? So we can just calculate this value. So how we can calculate 7 boxes on y-axis gives you how many kilometers? 4 kilometers, right? 7 को 4 kilometer. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. 7 boxes means 4 kilometers. And we want for how many boxes? For 4 boxes, right? But for now we will calculate for 1 box. ठीक है, 1 box is equal to how many kilometers, right? Then we will multiply with 4. So 7 box के लिए 4 kilometers. How many kilometers for 1 box? This is a direct relationship. You have done this kind of problems in 8th standard also. All you have to do is cross multiply. So if we cross multiply, it will become 7 into question mark and is equals to 4 into 1. So what will be the value of question mark? 4 into 1 that divided by 7. So answer is 4 by 7. So that means each box on y-axis will give you the length of how much? 4 by 7 kilometers. But how many boxes you have? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 boxes you have. So you have to multiply with 4. So answer is 1 box length is 4 by 7. Initial distance traveled by C. This red distance we want, no? How to take that? Just count how many boxes there are and multiply with 1 length box, that is 4 by 7. So that would be how much? 4 boxes into length of 1 box. So 4 by 7 into 4. So that would be how much? 4 4s are 16. So answer would be 16 by 7. Answer would be 16 by 7. So that is initial distance covered. That is initial distance covered. So give me response in chat box. Have you understood how we have calculated the initial distance which was covered by C? Because we were interested in that and we have calculated that one. Okay. Now our job is to subtract it from 8. 8 में से minus करना पड़ेगा. So we can do that initially. Distance traveled by C. We are interested how far C has traveled, right? So our answer initially was 8, but problem was some distance was covered by that body. So we need to subtract from 8. So let us subtract 8 minus 16 by 7. Where the 16 by 7 has come from? This initial distance which that body has covered. So let us subtract it. We can take LCM of it or you can just cross multiply. That is up to you. So what I have done is I have taken cross multiplication. 7 1s are 7, 7, 7 8s are 56 and 16 1s are 16. So 56 minus 16. So that would be 40 by 7. Answer would be what? 40 by 7. Now this is easy division. 7 table you already know, you can just divide it. 7 5s are 35, 5 point something, right? So that would be 5.714 kilometers. So this is the distance traveled by C. So take screenshot of this. It's very simple. All you have to do is first, okay, let me tell you how we have done this and then we will proceed again. Fine. Some students might not have been able to catch this. Okay. So what was asked in the question was when B passes A, what is the distance traveled by C? So first we have to find out intersection point of B and A when B passes A. So this is the line of B. This is the line of A. So this is the point of intersection. So we found out point of intersection. Now we want what is the distance traveled by C. Now there is a whole big line of C, but we just want distance traveled at this point. So what we are doing, we are taking perpendicular from this. So we draw a perpendicular, we drew a perpendicular. Now answer problem is that we can directly take whatever the value is as answer. That means 8 kilometers. But problem is that that body had traveled some distance, so we need to subtract it. So this is the actual answer, 8. But problem is that that body had covered some distance, so we need to subtract it. Now how to find out that distance? This particular red distance. So we can easily calculate that. All you have to do is find out the length of each box. So how can we do that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 boxes is equals to how many kilometers? 4 kilometers in this case. And 1 box is equal to how many kilometers? Now this is just for understanding. Students who are, suppose, let us say, somewhat clever, they can do one thing. They can directly calculate for 4 boxes from this position. Means 7 box के लिए 4 किलोमीटर तो 4 box के लिए कितना? They can directly do that step. That is up to you. I have calculated for 1 box so that even average student can understand this. But students who are, suppose, let's say average and below, above average, they can do one thing. They can directly calculate. There is no need for this step. That is up to you. If you are getting confused, first find out for 1 box. If you are not, directly find out for 4 boxes. 7 box के लिए 4 तो 4 box के लिए कितना? Very simple. So Cross multiplied, answer is 4 by 7. Then we multiplied 4 by 7 with 4 boxes. So 4 into that length of one box, so that would be 16 by 7. And this we subtracted from 8 kilometers. So that was very simple, 8 minus 16 by 7. So how can we find out distance of C? Final distance minus initial distance. So that is all we subtracted. So final answer is 5.714. So take a screenshot of this and then we'll proceed for the next question. I hope it is clear, because another point, that is subbit D, the next question, is also based on the same type. Can we proceed? Okay. Now next question is, how far has B traveled by the time it passes C? So they are just asking what is the distance traveled by B, but the condition is that when it passes C, so whenever B passes C, we just have to calculate distance traveled by B. Now that is very simple. All we have to do is find out common intersection point between B and C. For that, first identify which is the line of B and which is the line of C. So which is that line? This is B's line, right? And where is the line of C? This one. And their common intersection point, this one. So at this particular point, we just want to know what is the distance traveled by B. So that is very simple. This is the point at which we want to know what is the distance traveled by B. So all we have to do now is draw a perpendicular. Okay, a perpendicular can be drawn. So let us draw a perpendicular. Now, if you want to know the length of these boxes, like how much is this particular length, we can do that. All we have to do is multiply one box length with the total number of boxes. So how many boxes are available? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So 9 boxes are available. 9 into 4 by 7. Because initially in the previous question only we have understood value of one box. We don't need to calculate it again. So it would be how many boxes? 9 boxes into 4 by 7. Correct? So that would be our answer. But understand this, in our previous question, we had subtracted initial distance that was covered by the body. Now compare B in this case. B is starting from 0th position. So even if you subtract final minus initial, initial was 0, so answer would be same. Okay, whatever the answers you are getting. So first we will try to find out this distance. How can we calculate? Multiply number of boxes with length of one box. Very simple. So initial distance covered by body B is 0 kilometers, that we know. What about one box length? 4 by 7. From where this has come from? Previous question. 4 by 7 kilometers, right? Now how many boxes there are? 10 boxes. So 10 into 4 by 7. Like length of 9 boxes. Sorry, not 10 boxes. 9 boxes are there, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? 9 boxes are there. So we just want to know length of 9 boxes. So 9 into 4 by 7. So that would become 9 into 4 by 7. 9 fours are 36. 36 by 7. That is your actual length. Now this is your actual answer, but you have to subtract initial distance which was covered. And how much distance this initial body has covered? B initially, it started from 0. So initial distance is 0. So actually this is our final answer. But just for our understanding, we will divide this 36 by 7. That would be 5.142 kilometers. Now let us calculate final distance. Final distance would be 5.142, this one, right? Now how do we calculate distance traveled by a body? Final distance minus initial distance. Final distance is 5.142 and initially that body didn't cover any distance. It started from 0, so initial distance is 0. So answer would be 5.142 minus 0. And final answer would be same. Anything subtracted from 0 is nothing but the same value. So answer would be 5.142 kilometers. Very simple. All you have to do is, students should have the knowledge of finding out the value of one box. Actually, this is the knowledge of class 8. Okay, class 8, class 7, your statistics. If you had gone through the questions of graphs, you must be having this kind of knowledge. This is not actually of 9th standard. This is actually of 8th and 7th grade. We just are applying that logic with our lesson, motion lesson. Okay, so Mani, what you are asking, sir, is it compulsory to write the last line? This distance covered by this last line you're talking about, distance covered by B final minus initial. Yes, actually, it will give you authenticity to your answer. Okay? Even if suppose let's say a student who is not of physics is reading, will be able to understand this answer. So you try to give your answer as thorough as possible. Okay? Do not create confusion in your answers, in your written answers, because even in 10th standard, your answer sheets are not going to be checked by school. It will be checked by some CBSE evaluator, right? And you don't want him confused. You write down everything properly, only then you can expect that you are going to get good marks. Here in our school, if you even if you write anything, you can then again come to the teacher, you can explain him, sir, I actually wanted to write this, we will give marks, that is not a problem. But in 10th standard, your answer sheets, final answer sheets are not evaluated by school teachers, those are evaluated by CBSE evaluators. So you need to make sure that your answers are without confusion. So write down thoroughly. Have that practice from 9th standard only. Okay, so that line, last line is important. Now, let us talk about the next question. This next question has to be done by you. It's actually very simple. I will explain the situation, but from formulas and everything that you have to do. Question is, a ball is gently dropped from a height of 20 meters. So there is a ball. It has been dropped from 20 meters height. Velocity increases uniformly at the rate of 10 meter per second square. Now, many students get confused and they think that this 10 is nothing but velocity. As this statement is saying that if its velocity increases uniformly, but you have to focus on the unit. What is this unit? Meter per second square. So that means this is acceleration, not velocity. They have written that statement very smartly, but actually 10 meter per second square is acceleration. You have to concentrate on unit. Now they're saying with what velocity will it strike the ground? And after what time will it strike the ground? So they are asking time and final velocity. So let us just imagine the situation. Now, even though the building is not there in the question, I have added it so that we can understand. Now, a ball is dropped from a height. Okay, a ball is dropped from a height. What is that height? 20 meters. So let me put that 20 meters. What is that height? 20 meters. Now, what is the acceleration this body received? 10 meter per second square, right? 10 meter per second square. Now, what is the velocity at which it will strike the ground? So they are asking final velocity. Initial velocity, what would be the initial velocity in this case? It would be 0, that we know, right? Final velocity is asked. Initial velocity would be 0. That we have seen so many times that whenever a body is dropped from the height, its initial velocity is 0 because that body is at rest. So initial velocity is 0. Final velocity they have asked, and they have also asked time required for this journey. Time also they have asked. So all the things we will calculate. Let us try to understand the situation first. So this is the situation. Now let us write down the given data. U is what? Initial velocity, 0 meter per second. Final velocity, we are going to calculate. S, that is the distance covered, 20 meters. Height of that building was 20 meters, so 20-meter distance has been covered. Acceleration is 10 meter per second square, and time we have to calculate. Okay, so there are two missing figures, V and T. Two things we have to calculate. Now, what options we have? We have three equations of motion. So we have three options. V is equal to U plus AT, S is equal to UT plus half AT square, or V square minus U square is equal to 2S. Now, first what we'll do, we will try to calculate value of V. Okay, we'll try to calculate value of V. Now let us use the formula, the third one. V square minus U square is equal to 2S. You can also start with second formula. Okay, that is up to you. Some students might be interested to find out time first. That is totally your choice. Answer will still be the same. But what I'm going to do, I am first going to find out V, then T. It is your freedom that you can calculate T first and then V. It is up to you. Now let us calculate V square minus U square is equal to 2S. V square value we have to calculate. U is 0, so 0 square. 2 into acceleration is 10 into 20. That distance covered is 20. And acceleration we have taken positive because the body is falling. Okay? So acceleration, do not take it negative. It is positive because the body is falling. Now, V square minus 0 square is equal to 2 into 10 into 20. So give me answer for this. Calculate this particular number. 2 into 10 is 20. 20 into 20 is how much? 400. So what would be the value of V? Okay, so Tanmay, yes, correct. Tanmay is the first one to give answer. 20, correct. Madhura, yes, correct. 20. Akhilesh, 20, yes. So three students who are the first one were Tanmay, Madhura, and Akhilesh, right? Yes, and everybody else as well. Samruddhi, correct. Jayesh, correct. Yes, everybody is giving correct answers. Yes, Shivam, right. Jayesh, yes. So final answer is going to be 400, and then we have to take its square root. So V would be equals to 20 meter per second, right? 20 meter per second. So we have received our V. Now we need to calculate T, time we need to calculate. We will use the first formula, easiest one. You can go for second also, but it is complicated. We'll use first formula. V is equal to U plus AT. 20 is equal to 0 plus 10 into t. So that would become 20 is equal to 10t. So final answer would be how much? Time would be equal to 2 seconds. Time would be equal to 2 seconds. Very simple. So take a screenshot of this particular slide. Okay, yes, what you are asking, sir, can we use first formula for taking out final velocity? You can. But problem was, see, we tried to calculate final velocity with the help of third formula, because in first formula, the value of t was not known. If we were trying to calculate V using first formula, time was not known, then you do one thing. If you want to use this formula first, then calculate value of time from second formula, then go for the first one. That can also be your option. Okay? If your priority is to find out time first and then velocity, it is totally your freedom. Okay, so can we proceed? Okay, can we proceed to the next question? Okay. Samruddhi, what you're asking, show the previous one again. Okay, this is the one. Take screenshot of this, and one for velocity that I will show. This is for the velocity. Okay, this is for the velocity. Take screenshot of this as well. Okay, and try to understand, students, to make these kind of PPTs and graphics, it requires a lot of time. So I'm what I can say, requesting you to do these things, these studies very seriously. It takes a lot of time for me to make such kind of PPTs. These are not ready made. I myself do it every PPT I make. So try to understand that if your teacher is taking so many efforts, it is not required for me to make these kind of diagrams to make you understand. That's not my job. My job is just to teach you, and that's it. But try to understand, if your teacher is taking effort, I want you to take extra double efforts to understand these things. At least be sincere. Okay, that is all I ask from you. Now let us try to go for the next question. In the next question, they are saying the speed time graph for a car is shown. This is the speed time graph. Speed time graph. There are two questions which are asked. Okay, this is unusual graph. You can see there is a curve. It's not a straight line. It's not a straight line. And you can see it is getting a curve line and it is getting a straight line at 6th second. Okay, on 6th second, it is getting a straight line. But till that point, it was all a curve. Now in first question, they are asking, find how far does the car travel in the first 4 seconds. So they want to know in first 4 seconds, what is the distance traveled. Now this is speed time graph. This is speed time graph. They are asking distance. So should we go for area or should we go for slope? What do you think? It is speed time graph and they are asking distance covered. Okay, yes, Venkatesh, it is correct area. Tanmay, right? Urjit, yes. So everybody at least by now has understood that how when to take area and when to take slope. So very much correct. We need to calculate area, and they have also said shade the area. They are saying shade the area on the graph that represents the distance traveled by the car during the period. So they are saying calculate the distance traveled in 4 seconds. Also, they want you to shade the area on this graph. Okay? Just shade the area they're asking. And in second question, they are saying which part of the graph represents uniform motion of the car. Let us try to answer the first question. First question is how far the car has traveled in the first 4 seconds, and they want us to shade the part. Okay, the part to be shaded in 4 seconds. So first we will shade that part and then we will solve for how much distance. So this is the shaded part, right? We have solved the second part first. The second part is what shade the area in 4 seconds. So we have shaded it. This is the area which we are talking about. So second part is done. What was the first question? First question is they are asking how far the car has traveled. That we can calculate. All we need is area under this particular curve, right? Area under this curve. But you have to understand, you cannot apply the formulas of triangle, or you cannot apply the formulas of circle also, because this is not a triangle. You can see two lines are making, suppose let's say, base and height of the triangle, but the third part of this particular figure is a curve, and triangle doesn't have curves. Okay, triangle has three straight lines. It has two straight lines and a curve, so we cannot use the area of triangle. 1 by 2 base and 2 height. Okay, some students make mistake here. They directly calculate answers by multiplying 1 by 2 base, that is 4, and height, that is 6. Do not make that mistake, because this is not a triangle. You cannot apply circle formula also, because even if you consider this as circle, this is not a circle, because the radius should be same. The length of this particular line, that is, if it is considered as circle, it is 6, and on this particular x-axis it is 4. So this is not even a circle. So what we need to do, we need to calculate how many boxes there are under this particular curve, and then we need to multiply with the x and y coordinates. Okay, we just need to know length of each box, and we need to multiply with number of boxes. So we will try that. So how we are going to find out distance from this? We are going to take area, that we know. Now we cannot apply area of triangle, we cannot apply area of circle. What we are doing, we are going with old fashioned. What we are going to do, we are going to calculate number of boxes, and each of this box looks like a rectangle, so we will just multiply length into breadth. Very simple. So we are going to use which formula? Area of rectangle. So how many boxes there are? There are 62 boxes. How to calculate those? All you have to do is first calculate all the major ones. Okay? These boxes, suppose let's say if there is suppose intersection. So what you can do? If the box is half or more than half, only then calculate. Otherwise, just forget about it. So you have to cancel these kind of boxes. This one, because it more than, suppose let's say half part is not visible. If it is less than half, you have to cancel it. So if you measure it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. So what we have done is we have calculated all the correct boxes, that is 57, but we have to take into account the numbers which are available at the curve, okay, which we have not taken into account. So that was 57. Then it is this box we had already calculated. So let us start from the top, that is 58. Then this has to also to be calculated, that is 59. Then this has to be calculated 60. This we have to exclude, because half of it is not available. Okay, it is less than half visible part, so we have to cancel it. So we are at 60 now, and that is 61. This is 61, and then we have to take the last one, that is 62. So that this 62 has to be taken. This actually looks like the half, but it is not. So all in total there are how many boxes? 62. You can again do this kind of exercise of finding number of boxes from your textbook later. Okay, but for right now you just have to understand that how many boxes are there? 62. So 62 into area of one box, and that each box is looking like what? A rectangle. So that is what formula is there for rectangle? Area of one box is length into breadth, length into breadth. Now we need to calculate what is the length and breadth of each box. It's a complicated procedure, but it is very simple. Just try to understand it. So what we are interested in? We are interested in finding out the length of each box, right? So length also and breadth also. So for finding out length, we need to find out from x-axis, and from y-axis what we'll get? Breadth we will get. Okay? Or you can call it width. So what about x-axis? So x-axis is nothing but you can see how many boxes gives you two value for time 2 seconds. How many boxes there are available? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 boxes are available, right? So you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 boxes will give you 2 seconds. What about y-axis? 3 boxes will give you 2 meter per second. 3 boxes will give you 2 meter per second. On x-axis, it will give you 5 boxes for 2 seconds. Now let us try to calculate length of one box and width of one box that we can do. So what is one box length kitne ka hoga and one box width kitne ka hoga? It's a simple direct relation. All you have to do is cross multiply. So cross multiply. So when I'm calculating for x, I will say it is Lx. So Lx is nothing but is equal to Lx means what? Length on x axis. So it would be 2 into 1 divided by 5. 2 into 1 divided by 5. Cross multiply. So that answer would be 2 by 5. What about y axis? 2 into 1, 2 into 1 divided by 3. So 2 into 1 divided by 3. So that would be the one I would divide this. 2 by 5 is nothing but 0.4 second. Now let us try to calculate for breadth. That would be by is equal to. Why I have taken y? Because breadth on y axis. You can just mention there L and B. That is up to you. Now 2 into 1 divided by 3. So that would be 2 by 3. After dividing this, the answer would be 0.666. Now you have got the value of length, value of breadth. All you have to do is substitute these values in our formula. So it would be 62 into 0.4 into 0.666. 62 into 0.4 into 0.666. And the final answer would be calculation. Just multiply those. The final answer would be 16.5168. Those calculations you can do later. The tricky part was to calculate number of boxes, and the second tricky part was calculating length and breadth of each box. Okay? So give me response in chat box. Have you understood how these values are calculated? Number of boxes was simple. All we had to do was the second part is somewhat hard, calculating length and width of the box. But once you get it, all you have to do is substitute in your main formula. Okay. So take a screenshot of this. That's your final answer. Urjit, what are you saying, sir? Will the scale of one box be given in the exam? No, definitely not. They will give you only such kind of graphs. From the graph, you have to calculate, suppose, let's say length of one box. That is up to you. Like you have to compare for how many back boxes the values are given, and then you can easily calculate length of one box. These kind of questions are rarely asked in our school exams, but sometimes, okay, sometimes it is asked. At least in the last year, this question was not asked. Suppose, let's say, depending on finding out number of boxes and then calculating area, because you can see it consumes time. Hence, suppose, let us say these kind of questions are skipped in our school exams. Also, one thing I want you to know, some student asks, sir, what will happen if my box number is not correct? Suppose, let us say some students have taken it as in terms of 62, they have taken 63 or they have taken 61. That is totally fine. That I can suppose, let's say, ignore, because you are close to the answer. Your answer would be close to 16. That I can totally understand. So don't worry if you are not getting the correct number of boxes. I am not expecting that much of accuracy, but at least it should be near to. Suppose 62K near. I can give you, suppose, let's say, relaxation of 2 boxes. It can be 64 or it can be 60. That answers I can expect. But don't expect leniency from me if your boxes length is just 50 or suppose it is more than 70. that kind of inaccuracies won't be given any marks. ठीक है, I can understand if it is 60, 64. These kind of mistakes happen by everybody. ठीक है, we are humans. We are not that much perfect. But I cannot give you marks if the number of boxes are 50 and 70 and 80. That is totally inaccurate. Okay. So take a screenshot of this.